Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. Welcome. Thanks for being here. My name is Aria, and I run events and marketing at Meadow. It's nice to see so many of you here with us today. Hi, Tara. Hi, Trent, Jim, Jamie, Grant, David, Alex. Lots more of you. Thanks for hanging out with us this afternoon. It's hard to believe it's already the holiday season. Wherever you're joining us from, we hope you and your families and your teams are healthy and well. We're going to do our best to keep this to a 45-minute webinar with questions at the end. So go ahead and drop any questions you have as we go in the chat below, and we'll take those after our little presentation. Today, we're going to be talking about seasonal marketing and buying best practices, featuring expertise from our friend Sara at Betesh Buying Group. And I'll properly introduce our speakers in a moment. Before we get started, I did just want to quickly introduce Meadow. I know there's a lot of new faces here in the room. So for those of you who don't know us, we're proud to be the top-rated dispensary software system. So while we've seen other folks cobble together 5 or 6 different software services to run your dispensaries, we've really seen that that's inefficient and leads to redundant workflows and data that you can't fully trust. So what's great about Meadow is that we have a single connected cannabis retail system for point of sale, delivery, e-commerce, loyalty, marketing, compliance, and more, all in one easy to use package, which means you can really sell cannabis quickly and easily with less manual labor. So while other systems will let you oversell, Meadow's built-in guardrails keep you compliant with clean inventory in all of your sales channels. If you're still using a system with clunky workflows built for another regulatory environment, we'd love to help you upgrade to a 100% compliant system with no CSV uploads ever. The new year is a really great time to start fresh with a new system that will replace multiple bills and save you an estimated 20% in labor costs. So let's go ahead and get into it. Today, I'm pleased to introduce our guest speaker, Sara Betesh. She is the founder of Betesh Buying Group and has spent the last 15 years buying for some of the world's largest apparel, fashion, and retail companies. She spent the last more than 5 years focused on cannabis as a senior buyer at MedMen and as a retail buying consultant. She has developed and implemented the complete buying process for more than 25 dispensaries across the country. And today is also Sara's birthday. So shout out to Sara for spending her birthday with us. We really appreciate you being here. And today we also are joined by Wally Wong, who's on our Meadow SoCal team. He leads our education and social equity programming. Wally is passionate about cannabis, equity, and helping our dispensary partners navigate retail compliance so they can sell more cannabis and take care of their customers and teams. Wally, go ahead and take it away.
Thank you, Aria. Thank you for that intro. Sara, thank you so much for joining us today. If you can believe it, and shout out to all the Meadow partners in the room. Shout out to the folks here in California, to some of the teams in Michigan. Welcome, welcome. If you can believe everyone, yeah, we've reached nearly the end of the year, which I'm kind of not completely personally cool with, but yet we must sell cannabis, Sara, and that is what brings it, brings us together today. I think, you know, your experience is pretty singular in the space in terms of you coming from an existing retail environment into cannabis with some of the largest operators. I think that that's why we always love talking to you. You've been sensitive to the connection of retail sell through to stocking and buying from the get. And it's still, it's hard to say this, but it's still a newish industry, and there's new licensees. So let's just start with like top 5 big mistakes that you see people making when it comes to holiday purchasing. And I'm sure there's going to be people popping in the chat. Feel free to ask questions as we go along, and I'll work them in here. But talk to us, Sara.
Yeah. So I'm Sara. Hi, everyone. Some of the things that I've seen happen, good and bad, for the holiday season, really start before you even think to start buying for holiday. So it's a year-long thing. No, I'm kidding. So you can. So what I see is that the first thing is that, like, I tend to see that people are waiting a little too long to look into their sales from last year. So if you are lucky enough to have history from the year before, or the year before that, or the year before that, or even from a previous store that you were working at and you had insight from that, you should be looking at these things before you before you enter Q4. So at the end of Q3, if Meadow provides the reporting for you, or if you're able, and Wally will definitely like tell you exactly how to pull it because he showed me a few days ago. You want to look at your sales from last year, so you can benchmark against something. If you don't have sales from last year, then you're going to look at your sales from the last 3 months, 6 months, however long you've been open, and then you need to be able to determine some kind of pattern, which you'll be able to find if you're looking at your sales weekly. But when you pull everything in a certain time frame, you're really able to like narrow it down to those weeks of supply and the weeks of sales that you were performing those sales.
And then talk to us, because I love what you, when we were getting ready for this, I love that you talked regarding the promotion and the problems you see with promotion. That was like really eye-opening, like the difference of specifying the specificity. Talk to us about that, because I think a lot of people miss that and don't actually don't have the time or don't give the thought or think about how that works.
Yeah, so when you're looking at your sales from last year, you want to see like Christmas lands on and Green Wednesday lands on a different day every year. So you want to make sure that you're looking to see like what's ramping up that actually caused those sales, because yes, Green Wednesday could be the reason, but there could have been a football game the week before last year that was really popular that everybody wanted to like make sure they had. There's all different things that are going on, so you want to like look into things like that. And then in terms of promotions, I tend to see stores really taking every single promotion and just doing all of it. And I don't blame you, because I've been in the position, and I still am in the position of salespeople coming to you with really great deals, and you want to be able to include it. But I think that what we really miss in this space is that there isn't really much intention to the promotion, other than the fact that it's buy one, get 20% off here, get 40% off here. These are expiring, these are free. Like there's nothing wrong with promotions. Promotions are great, and that's what brings consumers into your store and keeps them coming there. But I think that messaging and like bucketing these things into something that makes sense to the consumer, because have you ever walked into a store where you're just like, everything's on sale, nothing's on sale, the stuff I want's not on sale, but that stuff is, but then it's just confusing. And then honestly, like for me, I'm just like, there's too many choices. I'm just gonna go home and like look online later and click on the one banner that says 25% off, and that's my bucket. So that's how I'm shopping, and I'm also a consumer. So I try to think of that when I'm buying, is that as I'm not only buying for myself, but I am a major consumer. So you want to make sure that you're just have some kind of theme. It could be 5 themes. It shouldn't be 40 themes, is really my gripe with the holiday markdowns.
Yeah, I love that. And it's so, I mean, especially for these operators in California, it's been such a tough year. I think we've been seeing everything exactly what you're talking about, everything kind of getting thrown against the wall, guaranteed lowest, but everyone's doing it. So it's like a toss.
It's just bringing down the value of the product even more, because then next year it's going to be buy one, get 3 free. And next year it's going to be buy one, get 5 free. Like, where's the limit? So you kind of just want to, it's to protect the whole industry as well. But for your consumer, it's, if you can lead them around the store in a way that makes sense for promotions, for gifting, for product, like last chance deals, however you want to call it, like it just needs to be presented that way. And then what's important is that your staff needs to know what's on sale.
Yes.
And when they have 3 pages of sales, can you really blame them for not being able to customize that for the person that they're talking to in that 5-10 minutes that they get to talk to them?
I love that note. I think I always say, I will give me 3 good salespeople and I will outperform your marketing spend if you can give me 3 solid salespeople that I can like actually educate and upsell on. love if it's as it said, if everything's capitalized, nothing is important. Talk to us about aging though, because I think this goes hand in hand with this wonderful environment that we deal with in cannabis, which is perishable inventory, and how how you do that, how you think about that as your if it's with Sarah's store, if it was Sarah's dispensary, how you start thinking about that as we go into Thanksgiving, into Christmas, and New Year's.
If it were my dispensary to hire a buyer. Okay, so so basically with inventory, with aging inventory, everything has an expiration date on it, besides the flower, but we're required to put them on. And the consumer is used to seeing that, and whether they're really truly expired or not, you still can't sell it after a certain date, which means that you have to throw it away. But you can't just throw it away. You have to pay somebody to come and throw it away for you. So why would you do all that? So let's try to get this product out before it expires. So what I usually do is I'm looking at my inventory 90 days out. And I create a plan, and I put them in buckets, and something that's expiring within the next 30 days, that means a plan right now. Something that's expiring in the next 60 days, that is, maybe I can group it and put it into a theme with a holiday coming up, and I can do 10% off. Basically, you want to do these buckets earlier, so then the discount doesn't have to get to the point where you're marking it down 80% or you're just throwing it away or giving it away. So if you can at least still recover some margin points, or at least recover your costs on it, that's going to be your goal. But if you're marking things down 30, 60 days ahead of time, you can see that a lot sooner, and then you can reduce your risk. And then by the time the expiration date comes, your inventory shouldn't be there anymore. And then using this time frame, because you already are having the consumers coming into the store for the holidays and buying things, using this time frame to also include those into your marketing messages is important. Use this time, and then also what I also suggest is right after Christmas in January, people have no reason to come and shop again, right? Because they just stocked up, they've got their gift cards to whatever, and they're buying clothes and things like that, and then or maybe on opposite side of the spectrum, they just spent all their money and they are not back in the game until February. You can use the aging inventory left over from Christmas to drive more sales in January and still have more markdowns.
I love the thought of, I love the idea of that, of thinking past just New Year's and thinking about how the aging and the discounting starts now, and tiering it out with an eye of in the event that we are in January, and being sensitive to the what products you're actually cutting discounts on and when. Talk to us about, because this is a reality, brand new stores are opening before the end, or we call the end of 2022. What that's got to be how navigating that as a new store, everything's new, you're doing the initial purchasing. I know we've got some teams in the room. That'd be such that's got to be a specific challenge as a buyer in terms of that first initial stocking,
right? Because you're up against competition that's around you, that's already been there, that have consumers that have been going to those stores, and then you're also up against trying to you're going to open up as a markdown store at that point, because at that point the salespeople are coming to you with killer deals. They're going to want to sell as much as they can. They're getting permission to mark things down lower than probably you've ever seen before. So I think that if you're opening a new store in Q4, you're gonna have it's definitely gonna be a deals game, but it needs to be a messaged correctly to the consumer, and also super excellent customer service for people to want to come back. I would suggest, if you're opening a new store, I would suggest doing a bounce back, so give people a reason to come back in Q1 after they just bought all of their buy one get ones and all of their deals. Have some kind of And you can talk, you can call me if you want some actual real like concrete ideas. I ain't got time to tell you everything now, but definitely like some kind of bounce back coupon of some sort for them to want to come back in Q1. So because they had such a great experience and you want to keep it going. And hey, we were able to like give you these markdowns for Christmas. Come join us in Q1, like in January for New Year's, and we're happy to like extend that one more time for you, something like that.
And then talking about, can you give us a sense from your experience, this has come up regarding the salespeople from the upstream branded distributors. How much are they willing? Is there a lot of negotiation room with or are things kind of bargain basement at this point?
I think that there's always room for negotiations, but I also like you don't want to like crush the vendors too much, because like we need them just as much as they need us. We need them even more, actually. They don't know it, but we have like without marijuana or without cannabis to sell, and then I can't sell anything in my store, right? Because it's a dispensary that can't even sell a candle. So so it's like I think that there's creative ways to work with the vendors and with the brands on negotiating and to getting like the right message and the right discount or the right markdown promotion for the consumer without necessarily be like having to hit the cost too hard, because like I think we understand now as buyers like how much it really does cost,
right?
And yeah, so I think, and you also don't want to we don't want to get the consumers to like getting used to like $10 eighths. They kind of already are, and it's really hard to go back. So I would say be a good partner.
I love it. It's not said enough. You and I have been in it. I think that, but I don't think people get it, for especially entering the industry, how much the supply chain actually works together. We're all in it together. I love that sentiment, and you're being sensitive to that.
Yeah.
Can you talk to me about, saving some cash and liquidity in dollars regarding the testing out product mixes?
So in November and December you're going to get probably more traffic than you are throughout the rest of the year. So I like to make sure that I save some liquidity, and liquidity is just a fancy way to save some dollars, save some budget for new and exciting items that, in this exciting world of cannabis, you can have a brand new item ready to go tomorrow and have never heard of it before. It's annoying, but it happens. Where you're like, I want to buy this and I have no money left. But like this guy, Wally didn't tell me about this until today, so you want to save some dollars for those new and exciting items. And then this is the time to actually run a lot of tests. So if you've been thinking like, I want to try this new product, it's kind of like, I'm like kind of iffy about it, I don't really know, like this might be the time to do it, because you're getting a lot of traffic, and you can have like a dedicated area in the store if you merchandise correctly and say like new and exciting items. That way you can get a test and you can get a read, and because it's not going to sell during this time frame, I really don't know when it will. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
people are out there with they're ready, they're buying stuff, and if you catch them around that Black Friday, Green Wednesday time frame, like people are excited to buy things, and they might be willing to try something new, a new format that they might not have tried before. So if it's like a new product or a new brand or something that you really want to test, like putting it out there and like buying like minimal amounts, but like phrasing it as like new and special, then it will give you some data, and you might be able to work that into your Q1 and Q2 projections.
And talk to me about the bundles.
Oh yeah, are people doing that anymore? I don't know. I haven't thought about it in a long time.
Look, this is the reality of it. I think I was actually talking to one of our clients this morning about a version of a bundle. I mean, I think I consider bundles as far as a lot. There's people attempting, subscription boxes, especially vertical operators that are selling their own brands. They're considering different I consider bundles in terms of engagement and like how they're trying to set themselves apart. I've seen, let me say on my side, I see a lot of them work. A lot of them do work, and they do work. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think it depends. I think they work. It just depends on what the product is and how much it costs. So one of the major things I see is like, if you like, I stay away from bundles in terms of like, don't put 5 full-size items in a box and market $200 and expect people to like expect people to like for it to fly off the shelves, because if I'm spending $200, I better like every single product in there. So it's like, I kind of look at it as like in the beauty industry, like in Sephora, like I bought like 3 bundles yesterday online. I don't know why, I just did, because I know that brand, and I have the one size item from them, and then there's like 2 other small size items that I wanted to try, and the price was like $20 something. So it was like, oh, I get to try all of these smaller items, and it's beauty, so it's different. And women also, we spend a lot of I think we spend a lot more money on like things like that. But my point is that if you're going to have a bundle, maybe it should be something that is that you can like choose. So like there's like 5 items and you choose like 2 or 3 of them, and so it's $75, like whichever 3 you choose. Or maybe you go into production and you all the little samples that you give out, you can you create a SKU for them, and then you can create a bundle with like smaller size items. I just think you just need to really pay attention to the price point. And if the customer can't see what's inside the box, like if you're not merchandising it where people can see what's in it, I've learned that big mistake in the past where it's like a black box and like you're like, it has this in it, but like people buy with their eyes. So if they just see a black box, they're like, I don't know, so put a window in it or take it out and merchandise so people know what's in it. Like I'm sure people are doing that, but I just really feel like gone are the days of like the $200, $300 bundle boxes that you can, get away with selling, especially in the gifting time.
And here we'll go into some nitty gritty stuff in terms of we're analytics, like when we talk about analytics, and then we've got these 3 teams. We've got the marketing team, we've got the front of the house sales team, and ideally not everyone has a buyer, but someone fulfilling that buyer role. And this thing of promotions, of how we're looking at those analytics to make them work for us as much as possible. And in your experience, is it in terms of like team alignment, how that goes out when we get around the holidays? What's the best version of it?
Of analyzing the
data,
and
using promos and like the marketing team driving it, the buying team like what
I think, yes, so there's a lot of cross-functional departments, and everybody has a job that they want to do the best at. Marketing is always somebody that you want, like somebody in your marketing team, they're on your team. They want traffic just as much as you do, and they want customers to come in. I think that when it comes to inventory, when it comes to buying, it really needs to be like a dedicated person or team that is setting the tone for what they're buying for the store, in alignment with obviously with their other coworkers and opinions as well, but like everything is really backed by data. Like there's so many things that I like that don't sell. Like I like peanut butter, and my first mistake I remember was like, oh my god, I'm buying all the peanut butter cookies, everyone love them, and then like nobody everyone's like, I just want chocolate chip, and to me that's so boring, but that's the number 1 seller, and as a buyer you have to buy what the mass wants, not necessarily what you want every time. So but you are the person that is setting the tone for the store and for the teams, and you're leading it. So your inventory and your buying team should really be leading these conversations that you have with marketing to decide what you want to like put in the emails, because a lot of times like a marketing person will want to write a really great email about something that you're not even buying, or you have bought and you're not planning on buying again. So just make sure that the conversation is driven by data, it's backed by data, it's driven by the buyers and the inventory, people that are actually day-to-day talking to the vendors and learning about like all the new trends that are coming out. So that's what I suggest when it comes to working with the marketing teams and working with like during like the holiday season especially.
And that's the other side of this challenge, and especially for the new operators that are just learning that, is that we've got this perishable inventory with the expiration date, and then we've got limited marketing channels, and that's where the marketing comes in, the promo codes, the discount structures, all inside Meadow, I may add. But you did bring up something which I wasn't aware of, and as much was that the appetite and the reality of having upstream brands and manufacturers, if you being able to create, especially for teams that have like 2 and 3 stores, creating specific offerings for your, how much do you see that? Is the juice worth the squeeze on that?
It depends. It's so like, it's not, it's if you own a manufacturing space, if you're a vendor that's lucky enough that owns your own manufacturer, then like maybe it does make sense to create exclusive product for certain stores, because you have because you can reach your economies of scale. You don't have to like submit to like a manufacturer where they're like, okay, well, there's a 30,000 unit minimum, and you're like, well, I run my own manufacturer, so I can do 5 if I wanted to, whatever. So, but that's definitely not the case for everybody, right? So with large MSOs and vertical operators that have like many more stores, so they have higher buying power, it might be beneficial for you to create an exclusive product for them. It doesn't have to be a groundbreaking brand new thing. It could literally just be, we change the colors of the packaging for your store. We add on a couple stickers on here that's going to say like, this is collaboration. This is, maybe it's an exclusive thing that this certain strain will only be at this store for, for the next 2 weeks. And then on Christmas Day, it opens up for everybody else. Like those kinds of things create interesting like moments and reasons for the consumers to like want to come in and purchase. And it also gives those retailers something else to talk about and some just like new exclusive things that they can offer. Is the juice worth the squeeze is like the age-old question. And it's really like, it really just depends, honestly. Like it depends on your buyer. If they're able to actually like find the thing that, like, if they're really in tune with their customer and they're looking at all of their data and they can find the items that the customers are going to want to come in for exclusivity, then yeah, it's worth it. If me as a buyer can go and get a vendor to like make what I need specifically for my customer, totally worth it. And it just depends on whether like the trade-off is usually cost and time. So I always suggest, if you're going to do this stuff, you need to start in July, because it takes months to go through and go through like the approval process and all that stuff. And I would say start engaging with your vendors in July if you want to do some exclusive things.
Are you, and you don't have to answer this if this is part of your secret sauce, are you considering 420 this early on? Like 420?
No, I probably wouldn't really. It depends. Like if I would say I would probably start thinking about it in January, like, right, because it's like dead space then. I wouldn't like dedicate too much brain space to it. But you learn a lot from Green Wednesday and from Black Friday and from Christmas and Hanukkah. You learn from those that data sets of what you should do for 420. Maybe the 25% off was too much. Oh, there's something like, some stores I see like blanket will just mark everything down for 25% off in the store, which is like slightly lazy, for lack of better terminology, because like, and yeah, it's really easy, 25% off, but we work so hard as buyers to like get the right cost and the right retail on the floor that like, I think we deserve just a little bit more thought into what we want to mark down rather than a blanket 25% off everywhere.
I love that. I love all these ideas and of where we're considering like the experimentation of all of it and what we're considering this, because for us at Meadow, yes, the holidays of course are super important, but what we're considering 420 is where we're really, we're put to our paces because we're across all channels. And I love the idea, as well as like kind of cross-referencing all of this in terms of store experience, in terms of promotions, I'm going to show, for those of you that you haven't seen it, and just so you all can get a sense, and we won't get too deep in the weeds, but a big value add for why teams run us and is because of the fact we're an all-in-one system. We're able to surface because you're working from a single inventory instead of working across 2 to 3 to 4 systems. Some people do 5. I've seen 5. I don't know if any of those people are in the room, but really what that means is from a single inventory reception off of Metric, we're pushing across all your sales channels. So that means we're inside the store, we're doing your pickup and delivery menu. We support dynamic delivery, ice cream truck as well. And then why we're talking about all the discounts for us, and we don't know any different, our operators don't know any different, is the ability to execute discounts across all the sales channels. So any inventory action that I do on Meadow on the back end, whether it's affecting a particular sales price on a particular brand, that is going to affect it across all the sales channels, including their Leafly and Weed Maps. That goes for discounts too. We've got an incredible discount engine, and where we can execute automated discounts directly inside the system. But Sara, talk to me about, we've talked about the discounting and the marketing. Talk to me about like you working with marketing teams and the existing internal customer database and the group that, like, have you worked with teams? Look, I'll tell you my world. Some teams go to great extent and they benefit from it of actually grouping their customer database. They break them into whatever buckets, whether it's like here, this is a sandbox environment. They break them into like, we've got friends and family, industry, medical patients, right? Medical patients is usually, but to like connect the dots on this, in terms of what you were talking about, of like having some discounts with some actual messaging attached to them. What does that look like? Because I've also worked with people who do spray and pray, right? They just have one huge customer list. That's what we call it. And they're text them all. Everything's. But talk to me about the value of actually organizing your customer database and utilizing that as it informs your discounts.
Yeah, so I haven't been lucky enough to have such a sophisticated data set that's going to break it up into that. I'm sure the marketing teams that I've worked with in the past had it, but there wasn't really a way for them to express, to like really share that information with us. I think looking at these groups of things, like I have already planned in my head. I'm like, okay, I saw like the senior citizen grouping. Like, yeah, that's great. Let's look at all the products that they're selling. Let's see the percentage total of what we own versus what we sell, and how many people come in. Like, I'm getting really excited. Like I want to actually look at this data. But yeah, that is he who holds the data is going to win this entire race. So the more information you have and the more ways you can apply it to your customer, like you're going to win every time, 10 out of 10, because there's no, like, you know exactly what time they're coming in, you know exactly how much they spend, you know which products they're buying. There's no reason for me to get a text message that is geared towards senior citizens if I'm not one, you know.
That's where, and I'll be honest, this is why we like talking with people like you, subject matter experts in terms of inventory and doing buying and inventory, because where we really pivoted the system is exactly that. We were working, because we're an all-in-one system, we have all the customer data points, and right now what we're looking at is our text marketing system, and we're able to do digital flyers, but we're able to do that, all the segmentation that Sara is talking about. Because our data is true and accurate, we're actually able to really zero in on any combination and execute orders, text marketing campaigns directly to those people. And we can show conversion off that. We can show you directly inside the system what the conversion is off of those marketing campaigns. So, you know, what we're looking at internally And what we've been looking at all of last year is how we can use all this wonderful margin data where we can, right now we're just looking at product performance, but we can get into COGS. We can get into percentage of orders, all of that, and be able to surface it and then pivot it very quickly to marketing to sell. It is a margin game. And I think that's always the challenge, is like, how do we stay ahead? How do we stay creative, but at the same time, without like defaulting to full on spray and pray, just like discount everything, everything in the store.
Right.
To people in the room, do you guys have any questions? Feel free to shoot any questions in the chat, or we're happy to discuss anything as we got the time. We've got a good 15 to 20 here. Does anybody have any questions that they want to ask for Sara? Take advantage of it. Sara, do you talking about that dead January?
Yeah.
What is dead January? What do we do in dead January? Makai, you can put your question into the chat, Makai. I hope I'm saying your name correctly. Hopefully you have. You're on a computer. That would be great. Talk to me about dead January and what goes on in dead January. Talk to me about, like, the experiments have been done. We've run it. We've tried some new stuff. What are we looking for after the fact?
I think that in January, we're still going to be playing with aging inventory. We're still going to be like marking that stuff down. I think that usually January is like kind of like a break in the floor set, and then like February starts up. I think that this is a time for you to like reset and think about, like, you clear out all of your holiday stuff, and then see like where most of your sales, I guess, like landed during the holidays, and keep trying to, maybe you can recognize that like one of the subcategories might become larger than that and become a category. I'm just going to use an example as like, let's say like beverages, right? I think there's subcategories within beverages. I think there's like syrups, there's microdose, there's high dose. Maybe you start to see that the syrups are picking up. So come January, now it's like, all right, I'm going to go look and add in more flavors, or I'm going to go see there's other syrups out there. Maybe there's low dose syrups that I want to get into, people like adding them to things. Like you need to analyze down to like the nitty gritty, like what you want, what actually happened. And then you have to execute on that story and be like, okay, cool. Now people want, I would say like January is probably end of the gifting season. And now it's back to like, let me buy stuff for myself. So, right. I don't know. Even though when I go shopping for holidays, I always have to buy something for myself.
Does this get related to what about all the non-cannabis inventory when we're talking about accessories in the store?
Yeah.
Hold on, let me get Makai. What we're gonna
Yeah.
tap.
Right.
Hey, I'm so sorry, guys. The chat is disabled, so I've been trying to.
Oh, okay. No worries.
Oh, it's okay. Now we know.
Yeah. I'm sure you guys, other people want to ask questions too. So
no worries.
Cool.
That's all you.
That was it.
What's your question?
Oh, well, I don't want to interrupt. You guys were on a topic.
No, go ahead.
No, you feel free. No,
maybe you guys covered this a little bit. As far as like promotional strategy is concerned, do you have any advice on like the targets for promotion? So, there's a couple ways you can go. You can promote like your best-selling items as the promotional item to drive sales for other SKUs, or vice versa. Do you have any feedback on that or advice?
Like creating like a loss leader kind of situation where you're like, we know we're gonna lose money off of this, but it's a bestseller, so we're just gonna keep selling it so then we can upsell other things along with it. Is that
kind of like using that as like the discounted item, like, hey, buy this other less, lower selling SKU to try it and get a discount on your most favorite one, for instance?
I like that. Yeah. I mean, what are you gonna like? That would be interesting if you left it like open-ended, like get a discount on your most favorite and you're not determining what their most favorite is. That's interesting, but that's hard to plan for.
Yeah, so I would say, so here's a more direct example. So for instance, like, you know, one of my best-selling SKUs is the Midnight Blueberry Kiva Camino, right? I think it's probably for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And so I've been thinking about, you know, they're going to be running a promo here pretty soon where I can get a free case for so many cases bought. So I've been thinking about getting those as the promo unit and saying, you know, buy any other Kiva Camino SKU and get a Midnight Blueberry for free.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
then they'll get their favorite one. Yeah. Rather than, than the other way around. Or you can do, you know, because you know that the blueberry is going to sell because everybody's trying to sleep. You can flip it and say like, hey, buy these at regular price, and then mark down some of your maybe problematic Kiva SKUs.
Right.
And that, because you know that people are going to buy the blueberry, so there's no reason for you to give it away.
Right.
Right. So because they're going to spend the, you know, it's, you know, how $16 to $20 or whatever you're marking it at, they're going to spend that. They want it. They're trying to sleep. So maybe it's like you take, so then you take that free case from Kiva, you mark it to regular price, so you hit your margin, and then you can mark down one of like the lower selling ones, like you know, taking a guess here, like the cherry flavors for me has never been like amazing. So maybe those get marked down to a penny, and then that just, it gives them something that they're going to be able to go home with, because they'll have a promotional item that they got, you know, quote unquote, for free. And they get to try a different one, and you can get rid of your lower performing inventory at the same time, because you know that you know they're going to buy the blueberry one.
Right.
Like, so like,
yeah, that's great feedback.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Makai. Makai, where are you tapping in from?
From Sacramento, California.
All right, on, man.
Well,
What's up, Sacramento?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for I'm gonna disable your talking now. Sorry.
I'm okay.
We were talking about in these last few minutes here, non-cannabis items and accessories, and how does this work in? Are we just having a field day? We're doing stocking stuffers, lighters. How are we doing? What's your thoughts on that, Sarah?
No, accessories always get so like left in the dirt, because by the time you have any time or money, you don't. And then, but yeah, I think with accessories, I would say the basics are always going to sell. Your lighters, your matches are usually a gift, but like lighters, your like the cheap, like the silk, here, this one, the ice pipe thing that we've had forever, that's like rubbery, that you can like drop. This was always a bestseller, and I think it was like $10. So like things like this that are like easy, because maybe it's like if you're buying it for gifts, like they can get like a couple of like these kind of like starter kit packs for like people that like want to get gifts for people that maybe haven't don't have experience. I would say like if you want to like have like an elevated accessory section, I would say like stick to items that are like affordable, unless you're in an area that's like that can take that. Like the consumer sees like a $200 grinder and they're like, great, but like to the most people, they're like, like there's plastic and it cost me $2. So like that kind of stuff. I would say just make sure you're stocked in papers, lighters, like your basic pipes, and then like maybe a basic bong or two. But like I just feel like people don't come to our dispensaries to buy accessories. I don't know if you all out there in the ether have had
it's SoCal, everybody goes to, it's so crazy. In LA, I often find that the accessories are bought at the smoke shop. Like,
yeah, because we're used to that.
And then nothing is bought at the dispensary, which I always think is so, like, I was like, I have a lot of friends that do that. They're like, no, they go to the smoke
But
shop.
I've also like checked out many times, and the bud tender does not say like, hey, do you need papers? Do you need lighters? Do you need do you know how easy that is? Like, yeah, I always need papers. I always need cones. Like, yes, throw that in there. So that's also that's an in-store upsell that can do, but it's up to the buyer to keep it in stock too. So it works hand in hand.
work with your sales staff. That is my takeaway to all the operators. If you need to educate them, that is the low-hanging fruit going in. They can affect, I always say that those a good salesperson can affect your margins.
Yeah, I've bought so much shit I don't need before. Like,
Yeah. Sell the t-shirt, man. The t-shirt is cheap. It is like a huge.
I'm not mad at them. I go home, like I bought it, but like, but yeah, sometimes I can be upsold a lot.
Awesome. Well, this was absolutely wonderful, Sarah. I appreciate you taking the time on your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Could you here
yes.
we go. If you Betesh Buying, that's what I was gonna say. Shout out your stuff. Talk about what you do.
So the Betesh Buying, Betesh Buying Group is 2 years old. It was born out of me just kind of noticing that there was a void in the market for professional buyers. A lot of my professional buyer friends, for instance, like are not interested in coming into the space, and I wanted to change that. And I wanted to help like the current buyers that, you guys and gals out there that are doing like store management, buying, inventory management, like kind of doing all of it. You really need the support, and we're here to help you. We can train you. We can like build your reports for you. You can just deliver your reports to you, like download them from Meadow and make them pretty so you can actually like, use them to what you need to do, call out the things that you need to call out. We can even we can be your buyers if that's something that you're interested in too. My ethos and my motto is everybody deserves to be able to take a 2-week vacation every year if they choose. So you can't take a vacation if you don't have process in place, and if you don't have time to work the process and it's just all in your head, it doesn't really help anybody. So and I've been in many situations where all of it's in my head and then I leave and then they don't know what to do next. So you always want to leave people set up for the future, because there's no such thing as a career buyer. You want to be able to move up.
I know it's your birthday, but I'm going to steal that. Everybody deserves a 2-week vacation. But I think it's really, and I'll tell you, look, this is good investment. This is a good spend. I understand how capital intensive these retail operations are. Look, I'm saying this to everyone in the room. What she said regarding the 2-week vacation, that is so real for so many of our clients. It does this knowledge, this functionality ends up being in the hands of 1 or 2 people. And it's the difference, if you don't see the value, it's the difference of, and I know you know this, Sarah, it's constantly looking backward and constantly fire sailing stuff versus really having
planning ahead,
real product mix, a reason for people to come to your store. And that's really, I think, that's what separates the stores apart is that very thing. Please reach out to her. We're going to MJ BizCon. Meadow is going to be there. South Hall, upper booth, 7300. Get at me I'm going to be there. You can reach out to me directly at wally@getmeadow.com. You can go to getmeadow.com. Once again, we are the highest rated, we actually award-winning system this year. Best support, all in one. If you're managing 3 to 4 systems, please stop it. You deserve, I'm already using it. You deserve a 2-week vacation. What are you doing with yourself? Reach out to us. We're happy to show you what we do. We've been working on it for a long time. We've taken it super seriously, and we love when you grow, we grow, and that's how we've treated it from the get. And it's kind of the Meadow way. That's our ethos: is sell more cannabis with less work.
Yeah.
Aria, good to see your face.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, Wally. Really appreciate you spending your birthday with us. That was super educational. I learned a lot. If anyone has any questions, there's a bunch of links there in the chat. Feel free to reach out. We will send out this recording to everyone. So if you want to share it with your teams, your marketing, inventory folks, look for that in your inbox tomorrow. And thanks, everyone. Enjoy your week. Take care.
Thank you.